So my name's Chris Dyson. I began working in real estate in Europe in the year 2000, so we're in 18 now, so nearly 20 years. Been in LA since 2005. Love Los Angeles, love our industry, love real estate. Very fortunate to to work with some reasonably significant, some of the most significant people in all walks of life, business, sports, and entertainment. I love what I do on a daily basis and hope I can continue to do it for a long time, still to come.
Thanks.
It was a very modest introduction. This guy is a superstar.
And James Harris, you may know James from the $1 million listings in Los Angeles. So again, thrilled you're here too.
Thank you for having me, and it's great to be a part of this. I started in the real estate industry at the age of 16. School wasn't for me. And I started in the northwest area of London in the residential market, which I was buying and selling real estate for about 4 or 5 years, got into commercial real estate, did that for another year, moved to Los Angeles, and have now been in the business for 13 years, trading both residential, commercial, and investment real estate. We target the high end. From Bel Air over to Beverly Hills and Holmby Hills, which is also known as the Platinum Triangle. We work with a lot of international clients, developers, and we kind of see projects through from the time they were bought as dirt all the way through until they were built, and then we resell them for a lot more money. And love being in the business and love this industry.
Very good. So today we want to know how you guys have achieved this incredible success, and to share it with our gateless viewers and get into some specifics. My first question is always, in your opinion, and we can just kind of 1-2 these answers, we're going to go back and forth, but looking back, what do you think are the reasons for your success? What are your strengths and the reasons why you're where you are today?
I personally don't believe that success comes easy, and I don't believe in luck. I very much believe in hard work. And I think that when you talk about an industry such as real estate, where I think there's over 1.2 million agents that are licensed in America, we're in a very competitive, cutthroat world where commissions are high and there's a lot of money to be made. So in order to be successful, for me anyway, and my business partner David, we always looked at who the competition was. Who is the best in our business, and how can we be better than them? And in order to do that, you have to be creative, you have to think outside the box, you have to look at really your competition, what they're doing, and think about how you can do it differently to enhance your brand and your business. For myself, it was door knocking. When you're an agent that has no money and no business, how do you utilize what's free? Well, door knocking is a great tool, because you are as good as your last door that you knocked. And you can door knock 50 doors, 100 doors, or 500 doors in a week, it depends. But as long as you smile and you're polite and you've got information to provide, you'll be successful. Open houses, another great one. Doesn't cost you any money. You have to show up, look good, smile, have a wealth of information at your hands, and information is key. And if you can utilize both of those as a new agent coming into the business, do it consistently and you'll do well.
Right, well said. And so that was part of the original plan. Got here, new strategy, to pound the pavement, door knock, open houses. You're not getting referrals on day one.
Again, there was never an identical plan. There was never a plan that was thought out. It was learn from the best and do it better, and create the plan. And so as the business started to evolve, we always knew that we wanted to target that high-end market. And our first deal was from a door knock in Bel Air. And we didn't care who we door knocked. We door knocked Leonardo DiCaprio, Dr. Dre. It didn't matter or faze us. But one of our best door knocks was a cul-de-sac in Bel Air on Perugia Way, which we ended up selling to a client who bought it sight unseen for $6.5 million from a door knock. And that house will be finished in a few weeks and listed for close to $40 million. And that cost me $0 to get that listing, except thinking outside of the box and being fearless. And in this business, you have to be fearless.
Right, exactly. To those shy agents out there, if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone and get yourself out there. Well said. There's a great moral to that.
Yeah, you cannot have any fear. And every time you hear the word no, you're closer to a yes. Don't let that put you down.
Yeah.
What he said.
Yeah.
This guy has sold some of the most prolific houses
if I was
in
a
the
new
city.
agent, we're meeting for coffee. What would your advice be to me? Like, what looking back, what did what worked for you?
I think you need to be the master of your own destiny and really control the bits that you can control. Whether you need to make the most of the things that you control. Like exactly what James says, how many doors you're going to knock. If you're going to go and have a coffee, like especially in Los Angeles, you can go and have a coffee at the Beverly Hills Hotel. You want to put yourself in a position for
it will
things
cost
to
you
happen.
5 times five times the price.
Go and have a sparkling water. I mean, I don't know. When I look back at the things that really benefited me, I was able to put myself in a position to be around the right people that influenced my business. And then once you have that opportunity, you've got to be brutal with your word and your integrity, and make sure that even if it's telling a client that they shouldn't buy something, always have the client's best interest at heart is my motto. And I think if you do that and you're very strict about making sure that what you say, what you do is in the client's best interest, then I think your business will be good, you will be referred, and you will have a strong business that you can hang your hat on. And they're the kind of things that I think are important.
Yeah, and that's a concept. So many agents are focused on the transaction instead of on the relationship.
Yeah.
And on the client. And that's,
Relationships, everything. I mean, for us in our business, if you have a bad relationship, you don't have a business. I often say, and someone told me this very early on, that whilst your reputation is everything with your client, your reputation within the agent community is equally, if not more important, because clients come and go, whereas agents stay. And information in our business is everything. And you need information from agents. So those agents your reputation with them has to be, as I'm sure you'll agree, stellar.
Yeah.
It has to be protected.
Yeah. I think that's absolutely right. I think I've been lucky to win in the multiple situations that have been a lot more prevalent in the last sort of 3 or 4 years. I've been lucky enough, even if I've not brought maybe the highest bid, but the agent on the other side, we've worked before, they know that the transaction will be a smooth and efficient one, and they've enjoyed working with me in the past, and that's actually got me the deal on multiple occasions. So I think, again, making sure the relationships you have within the agency community and with your clients is the most important thing.
Apparently he's very handsome too, which helps. According to my wife, she thinks he's very handsome. I think
that's another interview.
We'll save that for another time.
Another day.
Love it for the new agent. Just get out there and door knock in Bel Air.
Absolutely.
You can't work. But how about for the agent that's looking to kind of get to the next level, to where the both of you are? Like you're lucky enough to work for a company here that provides a lot, but for that agent that's looking to kind of break through and do the volume that they're kind of buried in.
Well, let me tell you this. I mean, again, without blowing too much sunshine on James, I have watched him from over the last 5 years grow his business into an incredible, nationally recognized business. And I think that question would certainly be, I'd be interested to hear how you, honestly, I'm not, I know you think I'm,
No.
I'm genuinely, incredibly awed by how James has grown his business with his David and with his team. It's been a beautiful thing. I feel very fortunate to be up close to see it happen, honestly.
It's very sweet.
And it's the truth. Not 'cause you call me handsome either.
I actually personally, thank you by the way, and back at you, but whether you're in Bel Air or you're in Chicago or you're wherever you are, the idea doesn't change. Whether you're door knocking in Bel Air or you're door knocking somewhere else, it costs you $0 to do, right? But it's about being creative, and I feel like in our business, you create your own brand, right? So for us, it was always about being recognized by people as the Brits or the Bond Street Boys or now the guys at the agency or whatever it might be. It's always about creating a brand that has integrity and hard work and ethics and reputation. And you said it best before. I mean, reputation is everything. And if you can build a reputation and market yourself and let your clients know that you are hardworking, honest, transparent, ethical, people want to work with you. That's contagious. But in our business, it's often to do with interpretation. And when we had no business, and I mean, we came here from London with nothing. We didn't know anybody, but we went out and we saved up some money and we set up a website and, we put a lot of money into our brand. And anybody that came to our website probably thought that we were selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate. But the reality was we had this beautiful website and we'd never actually sold a house. But we wanted to create this interpretation of our brand and image. And we set up an Instagram page and a Facebook page. And we have all of these amazing social media tools today at our fingertips that cost nothing to use. Use them. And, put out photos and lifestyle photos and show people what success looks like. And people want to be around success, and you've got all of these tools to create success as an image around you, and some people like it and some people don't, but fake it till you make it doesn't cost you any money to do, but people want that success. And so that's exactly what David and I did, was we created success. And I feel like you have to dress for success, but you have to believe in success, and if you go out and believe it, it will come back. And if you're willing to put in the work, it will come back.
Right. And that's one of my questions. Your business, I'm sure now, is a big percent referral, but back then, other agents want to know, how do I grow that database and build it? And people always ask, I don't have a marketing budget, but the social media and things you can do. So your social media strategy?
You can go and sit an open house.
Correct.
That doesn't cost you anything. I mean, that was when I first started. I tried to get with the best agents and people that didn't want to sit their opens. I wanted to sit their open house. I mean, it sounds stupid, but or simple. It doesn't sound stupid, but that really is. I mean, you've got the people who are the buyers and the sellers coming in right in front of you, and you have your chance in front of them.
And whilst the budget's tight, look at what you can do that does cost nothing, that can have a very good return. Sitting an open house where you have 3 hours that, in theory, the general public come in and want to see your listing or the listing that you're sitting. Have information about the house that you're sitting, have information about the other properties that have sold within a half-mile radius, have information of the properties that are off market or on the market, so that when a buyer comes through, maybe that house isn't for them, but once you start providing them information of what's sold, what's in escrow, what's coming up, now they realize that you're a wealth of information.
That's right.
People want to work with you when you're a wealth of information. Once you've taken their name and number, now it's into the follow-up. Follow-up is everything. Now you follow up with them. Now they see that you're proactive. People want to work with people that have their best interests at heart. So open houses are incredibly effective.
And I think what James touched on, which is key as well, which is incredible with the system over here that we don't have in the UK or in other parts of Europe, is that the transparency with the MLSs in terms of sold prices. You have so much information there that is really gold. And again, talking about adding value to your clients. The client's only going to want to deal with you if you have information that they don't have access to. And in terms of knowing the market sales, in terms of they need to have a certain level of comfort that you know what you're talking about. Otherwise, they're not going to invest their time and their trust in you navigating them through what's going to be probably the biggest decision they do. So study those, pick an area, study the sold, understand price per square foot, understand, what that landscape looks like, because, that's how you need to be able to add value.
And have fun. This is a fun business. I started at 16. I'll never forget. The guy said to me, just show up and smile. My boss, he was like, if you can't show up and smile, this is the wrong industry. So it's like, be happy. Enjoy what you do. We get to show beautiful houses, meet incredible people, show up, be happy, and be of service. And that will make you successful in this industry.
Very good. Can you share your social media strategy with us? The platforms you use, how much are you managing it? What content you're putting out there?
Yeah, I mean, we're very hands-on. Very hands-on with social media because, again, it's such a great way to reach people through hashtags and through videos and being consistent. And I think in any business, consistency is key. I can't spend the next 2 days posting photos and then go quiet for the next week. I have to post consistently every single day. There's special times of the day to post, and that can all be researched through Google. Live videos, people want to see your face. People love imagery, but they also want to see you talk. People want information, provide information. Twitter, use hashtags, interact with other people. use hashtags on your photos, occasionally go on and do an Instagram live video or a Facebook live video, interact with people that are following you. And you know something? These videos live on Facebook. So even if someone isn't seeing it at that moment, they can come back and see it. And really, again, consistency is key, whether it's social media, sending out newsletters, whether it's e-blasts, whether it's advertising in a publication or a digital, partnering with mortgage companies, escrows, titles, just get stuck in and be consistent.
Right. Any sites people can check out to see some examples of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to check out our own social media on Instagram. It's Bond ST Partners. Personal Instagram is James Bond ST, so cliche, but it was available. Check out what we do, follow what we do, and copy what we do. It works. You know, I have no problem. We copied people. That's the way that you learn. You take your competition, you see who you like. I'll never forget when we had no business. It was the Jills in Miami. So random. Never met them, never spoken to them, but I loved their brand. And so that was one of the brands that we kind of came after and watched, and that's what we recommend people do with us. Check it out.
Right. Good stuff. More and more agents that we talk to are kind of teaming up. That's the kind of the way of the future. So talk about, you know, especially the team dynamic that you're a part of, how that works, is you're branded as a team, how something comes into the team. Is it zigzag as you guys kind of 1-2, the communication between the two of you to work so closely as a team, but for people looking to kind of, you know, join forces with other agents? And
a team, for me, is everything, because, you know, at the agency, we're all a team. That's the most important thing. But generally speaking, most brokerages don't offer that team feeling, whereas the agency do. But for David and I and our team, that to me is absolutely everything. With David and I, yes, we argue like husband and wife, or wife and wife, however you want to put it, but we at least can bounce off each other. And when one's down, the other's up. And when one has an opinion, the other has another. But we have this infrastructure around us with keeping our team lean and mean. We have Michelle Ficara, who's been in this business for 30 years, who kind of handles everything back-end operations, who has managed to help us grow our business 100-fold, and has been... Without her, I don't even know where we would be today. She's the backbone of the business. I feel like you need someone that you can have and trust to help you grow. We have Alana Masika, who's been kind of our daily right hand. Alana is someone that you can trust and is going to work hard and create marketing and be there for your every need. We've got buyers agents now on our team. And I feel like having a solid team, not taking it too big, because you want to keep it lean and mean and make sure everyone's happy and everyone's making money and everyone's obviously working towards a common goal, is everything. And trust. You have to trust the people that you work with and the people that you're going to spend every single day of your life with as well.
All right. Take me through like the typical day. How are you with time blocking? Do you focus on certain activities that you get in each day throughout the week? How planned out, and tell us what kind of a typical day or what you're focusing on daily and weekly, or goals that you have.
I think you've got to be reactive as well in our business, you know, because clients want attention when they want it, and you don't always know when that's going to be. So you have to be able to adapt and change to what that day is going to look like for what the clients need. So that's I have a couple of different arms to my business, you know, in terms of my entrepreneurial endeavors and my agency endeavors as well. And so I try and balance the two with a family life and, you know, trying to stay healthy and everything else. So it's deciding what's the most important thing. That's the most profitable use of your time, I think, is most important, to make sure, because time is it's a very precious resource, I know, for us. And so I think you've got to be, you've got to be very strict about understanding what's the most profitable use of your time, that what you believe, and making sure that goes to the top of the tree.
Right. So many agents, they're spinning their wheels and they're driving and the phone, and they seem busy, but they're not focusing on that income generating.
It was the first job that I ever went. I was a recruitment consultant in the north of England, and I sat in a very, you know, aggressive atmosphere with, you know, a very aggressive sales atmosphere, and they put on our desk a big sign that said, is what you're doing right now making you money? And that's what you looked at as you were making 100 calls a day, getting 99 no's. And I always remember that as a good barometer, in terms of is what you're doing right now making you money? What's the most profitable use of your time?
I think you need in business to have structure. Without structure, you're all over the place, and you kind of have to work smart. I mean, you can work hard, but if you work smart, you'll be successful. For me, I like to start my day every single day in the office. In the office, you learn information. There's other people in the office, and you could learn about one off-market property and have one buyer, and all you do in this business is put two and two together. So if I'm not at a meeting, I'm in the office. I just feel like there's so many people, like you said, that are driving around and on the phone, and don't get me wrong, that's me. But at the same time, you end up finding out that you're doing a whole lot of nothing. Whereas if you have structure, and I don't mean necessarily make 50 calls a day or knock on 50 doors a day, but at least have some structure from kind of the morning through the afternoon to the evening that you want to do, you can spend your time more efficiently and, in theory, make more money.
Right. Very good. One of the big topics for us with a lot of the gateless agents is the art of negotiation. So talk on what you're, especially selling some of the most expensive homes in America, very, very different, but negotiation is a negotiation. So tell us your philosophy on negotiation and your mindset.
Well, how do you do it? You go first.
No,
you go first. That's how you do it.
Pricing dialogue.
Again,
I think you've got two ears and one mouth. Use them in that order was another good thing that I was told. I mean, I think the less that you are able to, the less you can talk and the more you can listen, I think is good in any aspect of it, but certainly in negotiating as well. And I think one of the things that I actually learned from Mauricio, our boss, is when you're representing a seller, you want to ask them as their agent, what's your number? And he said, no, I don't want to know that, because I don't want to know, where I'm just trying to get you the highest number. And so I don't want you to give me any kind of guide as to where, because then, even subconsciously, I'm going to sort of sway towards that number. So, which I thought was a very interesting, strategy.
Yeah, also we're in a business where you have to be good with people, right? And so there's no two negotiations that are the same. Every single deal, I don't know about you, but I can't ever say I've had one deal that I negotiated one way and another I negotiated the same. Everyone's different. And as an agent, you need to identify who your buyer is, who your seller is, and who the agents are. And if you can do that well and take a read on what's important, what's not, what might be good to your seller, what might be important to the buyer, and just work with your clients to make sure that A, you're doing it ethically, but B, you're doing your job. You're actually negotiating in a way where, and the key is everyone walks away feeling good, right? You don't want anyone to feel like they didn't get a deal. So as a negotiator, you want to make sure that you can get a meeting of the minds, put everyone together, and make sure everyone leaves feeling good and happy about the deal. And that's the key.
I think it comes down to information as well, and knowing information, because whether you're representing the seller or the buyer, you're selling to a certain extent that client on where they need to be and where they should be with the texture of what's going on with both sides. And I think it's important to know, again, when it comes down to the comps of what's sold and whether something's a good buy or not a good buy, and being able to, you have to be able to instill confidence and trust that they understand what you're talking about. And again, that comes down to knowing, that what you're saying based on the information that you have available is correct. So I think that's very important, again, is just really knowing your market and knowing, how a house fits into that landscape, and so you can do the best job possible in terms of guiding them through, whether it's the buyer or the seller, with all the information you have available, as I say.
Both your paths have kind of taken you here to the agency, and maybe talk about what makes the agency unique, and what do you love the most? Is it the creative? Is it the systems? What here do you use specifically that you really leverage and that really helps you the most?
It's not even what I use that I love the most. It's the camaraderie that I love the most. Honestly, I've been at 3 brokerages in 13 years, in 6 years of being in the industry. The agency is like nothing I've ever seen before. It's a brand, and I always talk about brand, right? That's kind of the one main thing I always talk about when we talk about the growth of real estate. But the agency have created this incredible brand that no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, if you're wearing a hat or you're holding a bottle of water or you wear a badge or you have a business card, everybody knows who the agency are. And of course, we're all kind of promoting one brand. So instead of having, one agent promoting one team, you have 700 agents promoting one brand. It becomes powerful, the force behind it. But the information that we share with each other here is incredible. The friendships that we've created here is unbelievable. The fallback system, from marketing to the brand partnerships and being able to create events and just working with everyone here, for me, it's like we're one big family that have the same common goal, and that's how it should be when you go to work.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when I first came out here again, I was with different brokerages, obviously, and a lot of my clients were coming over from the UK, and they didn't really understand the system over here, and they were buying me, essentially, and when I was representing them on the buy. But a lot of those buyers then started turning into sellers, and they're significant people with significant homes. And with all due respect to the agencies I was with, they didn't have the clout or the brand to be able to give the
support.
The support for those types of homes. And I'd spoken with Billy and Mo a lot and loved what they were doing. And again, I think the most important thing that they've done here, which is incredible, is exactly what James said, the camaraderie. You're not just going to your booth and you don't go in, put your head down, get on your computer, then leave. You look forward to coming into the office. It feels more like a more orthodox company where there is a staff that interact and there's a staff that share, and it does feel more like a family. They've done a great job with instilling a wonderful culture and effective agency. It's a real treat, honestly, to be a part of it.
I agree.
So.
It's pretty special what you guys are a part of here. Yeah. Segueing on the kind of that sharing topic, the subject of the whisper listings or the off-market listings, how big a part of that business is it for you here in LA? How you use that for your business, and then talk about what you have done to help organize and help with the efficiency of all of those off-market listings.
Well, in terms of how our businesses are different, I have a sort of entrepreneurial itch that I need to scratch, and a huge part of our business, honestly, is off-market listings, right?
At least 50% of ours is off-market.
Yeah.
At least.
And so, we get emails weekly, hundreds of them, from agents saying, I'm looking for this or I want that. And frankly, I was very frustrated with having no organization or structure to that process. And also, it's difficult to do. I have clients that want to list in an off-market capacity and not having an effective platform or an effective strategy to execute that job for them, I found very frustrating. And so, for me, the only way that you can really offer something, and then you have the conundrum, how do you offer something that's off-market how can you market an off-market property, I suppose? And for me, the only way that you can do that is to create an agent-only environment where they can share this information and share information as much as they want or as little as they want, but it's kept within the agent community. And that is what I wanted to try and create, and that's how I came up with the PLS.com, the Pocket Listing Service. And it's like the MLS for pockets, so agents can list their off-market properties or their coming soon properties, or they can test a price point on the platform. And I thought that was a real gap that needed filling. And the upshot of that, as well, as we started, and then I approached James, because obviously he's one of my closest friends, not just in real estate but just in life. God bless you.
Thank you, mate.
And, I wanted to sort of get a sounding, but I said, look, I'm thinking of doing this thing, and, what do you think? And he's like, I love it. I get it. I think there's a real need, not just for, a place where agents can share information amongst themselves, but I think the current environment that we live in terms of how the MLSs share all our information with the public sites, I think our perceived value as agents is being diluted. You know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier in terms of you're only as good as your information. It used to be that we, you know, were the gatekeepers to all that information, and now it's shared freely right across the country. And, you know, we can't really change that, but what we can do is we can take the off-market landscape, which is where sellers want to adopt an off-market strategy. They want to have discretion or demand discretion. They want to test a price point. And we can use that inventory and leverage it to give ourselves a competitive edge and access to inventory that's not in the public domain. And I think that's maybe the biggest thing that's come out of creating this project, is it gives the agent community and the membership of the site an opportunity to give themselves a competitive edge and add value to their clients. So you have this access to inventory that's not in the public domain, and it gives their clients another reason to be with you, while at the same time giving sellers an effective place to execute an off-market strategy if that's what they want to do. And that's really been the key with it, honestly.
Yeah, and we talk to agents, other markets, it's big in Boston, Connecticut. Yeah. The seller doesn't want those days on the market. But
there's so many
the
reasons.
PLS nationally, you know, it's just 50 states.
We've got members in each state. Yeah, I mean we're coming up to our year anniversary, and thank God it's been a really exciting journey so far. You know, we had a guy called Steve Appel. You know Steve? He called me up the other day. He listed a property for just under $20 million on Monday last week, and he called me up on Tuesday and was like, "My God, it works. I'm showing it today." So you know, I had a guy in Florida call me up and say he put a commercial property on there and sold it at $7.5 million within a week. Made $160,000 or something.
Here's the thing, right? Think about it like this: how many emails do you get a day that are junk? I probably junk 150 to 200 emails a day. If you are a real estate agent, out of those 200 emails you're junking a day, 120 of them are from another agent. I get property sent to me from Florida, Arkansas, places I've never even heard of. So when I see that email come through, I don't even open it, I junk it. But if I have a platform where I can put these off-market properties and make it easy for a real estate agent to sign in and go and find a property on behalf of a buyer I'm actually looking for, and everything's under one platform, it makes life so much easier. Right? It just takes out the having to sort through emails and so on and so forth. But the great thing about the PLS for me when I heard about it isn't necessarily just the platform that you actually provide, but if I'm an agent and I'm going into a listing agreement, a listing appointment with a seller, and I've gone in and I've done my homework and I've looked at what the comps are worth, and the house is worth $2 million. But my seller says to me, "No, my house is the best, it's worth $3 million. Which everyone goes through, okay? My house is the best. So imagine you can turn around to your seller and say to your seller that I have this platform where you have tens and if not hundreds of thousands of agents that can see your home off market without going on the MLS and accumulating days on market, which is ultimately detrimental. Let's test out this price point. You know what, Mr. Seller? We'll try $3 million. Let's see how many showings we get, because ultimately it doesn't matter what you think it's worth or I think it's worth what a buyer's willing to pay for it, right? Now you put your property on the MLS, okay? You can show it a couple of times from other agents that want to show it. Hey, if you get $3 million, good job. But if you don't, now you've got a more realistic understanding of what the property is worth. So by the time you go on the MLS, you've already done some work for your seller. And it's just another great way to also create privacy for a seller as well. There's so many different reasons it's great, but if you're an agent, you should be a part of the PLS, especially in times where Zillow and Trulia and Redfin and all of these other companies are trying to now take over control of the way the brokerage business is working. We've created a platform where we're bringing the power back to the agent. It's only allowed to be used by an agent with a license. And so, you know, if you want to be able to create a little niche to your seller, or you want to find something for your buyer, it's a platform that everyone should be using.
And it's
everyone.
50% of your business, and it's not just for $10, $20 million properties.
Absolutely
No,
not.
we have.
No.
I think we start 200,000. We have leases there for. I mean, we go from 200,000 to we've got a commercial listing for 625 million. You know, so.
I love it. I can't tell you how many calls I get obviously we put every single listing, and it's now become a part of my pitch when I meet a seller that we're going to put your property on the PLS prior to it going on the market. But I can't tell you how many calls I get from people that said, I've seen this. They don't even know I'm part owner of the company, but they say, I've seen your property. The joy that it gives me, I can't even tell you. But it's something everyone should be using.
David, lots of your deals, James, you represented the buyer and the seller. Tell us how you pull that off. What are the unique challenges to
Honestly,
working both sides like that? Very tricky.
You know something? Yes, it can be very tricky, but I truly believe that if you're ethical, nothing will go wrong. And if you do things right, it will work out. And certainly when you're in a team, and certainly in David and my situation, if we are going to represent buyer and seller, David will rep the seller, I'll rep the buyer. And you know what? We'll go at it sometimes, but you have to create a fair negotiation, okay? Yes, the seller's paying the fee, but the buyer's trusting you to represent them. And back to what I said earlier, the most important thing about a real estate deal is that everyone can walk away and feel like they got a good deal. Everyone can walk away with a smile on their face. It's one of the biggest investments that someone can make in their lives. And representing both sides takes a lot of skill, takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of listening, like Chris said, and figuring out what everyone's wants and needs are, putting them together and making sure everyone's happy at the end.
Anything each of you can talk about as far as technology that you personally use, training, coaching, sites, books, things that have been, really helped you along or been
Well, look, I mean,
difference makers?
I'm obviously very bullish about our platform. I mean, that goes without saying. But I do think it's a critical part of how our industry goes forward, is being able to control or take back control of some of the information that our sellers want. By the way, that's the other thing. What we're not saying with it is that everything should be a pocket listing. These are sellers that want to adopt this strategy. But I think as a community, it's really critical that we leverage that information to give ourselves a competitive edge. I really think, again, in terms of protecting our value and protecting our role, we have to be able to offer information that the clients don't have access to where it's appropriate. And so, that for me that's been a big part of my focus has been really developing that and making it something that will work for everybody.
I think if you're a new agent in the business, you have to identify who you are as a person. Some people love seminars and training and coaching, and it works for some people. Someone was telling me Tony Robbins. I was like, no, I can't do it. I went and I was jumping up and down and clapping and high-fiving everyone, and it was the most amazing thing ever. But, for me anyway, and again, everybody is different, but I always look at it as, I remember when I was learning to drive, I'd have this awful driving instructor, and I would sit next to the driving instructor, and he would teach me how to drive. But the truth is, you don't really know or learn how to drive until you've passed your test. I think it's the same in real estate. You can do all of these things, but until you're out in the field, until you're knocking on the doors, showing houses, negotiating deals, sitting open houses, you're not really doing it. So I think that it's a sink or swim business. You've got to put yourself in the deep end, and you've got to swim and make it happen.
And you should pester some of the guys you look up to and ask them for their advice. I mean, I really don't be too afraid to do that. I think, as James says, there's really no substitute for that, but look at people that you want to be like and ask them how they did it. I mean, I think, and invest in sales training. I think a lot of people just think it's a case of just take them to a house and let them buy it. And I think there's a lot of nuances to the relationship that you have with the client that people maybe don't invest the time in learning about. So I think that's something that, again, it comes down to a lot of listening and understanding situations and really not selling, and leading the clients to a point where the only place to go is either in or out without trying to hold a gun against their head. I think that's something that I see a lot of, which I wish people would stop. Is overselling. I think subtlety and listening is much more effective.
Right. Tell me what your biggest challenges are. What you're struggling with now, or what you're short-term goals are? Like, what are you working on?
I need
what's
$1 billion. That's all. That's it. No, I'm not having no.
You know, my biggest struggle, which I can happily admit, and
Time.
it's balance.
Yeah.
You know, I have 2 kids. I have a wife, which is a full-time job in itself. Not the wife. But the whole thing. You know, being in this business, people are very demanding of your time. You know, we could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if we chose to. But having a healthy balance in your lifestyle and being able to spend time with your family and your children and turn your phone off at the dinner table for half an hour and, you know, spend 2 hours with your children on the weekend, one dedicated day, take them out, do something. That is so important, especially with children because they grow up so quick and you can't gain back that time. So balance is one that I'm constantly and daily just trying to figure out and work on and get better at.
I think you do great at that. I see your Instagram stories. They're always with the kids.
I need to put him in front of my wife. He's so nice about me. Great PR.
Nice guy. No, I agree with that. I think time is, as I said to you earlier, it's kind of our most precious commodity. And when you have a family and kids, I think when you don't have that and you can invest the time in your business, that's when you really need to and you should. It's balancing and trying to figure out the most profitable way to spend your time.
And then $1 billion.
And then $1 billion, yeah, that's it.
The agency, very forward thinking. What do each of you think is the next thing, something you're working on now or see coming in the future? The business changes a lot. Think of what
PLS.com.
3 or 5 years ago, but you know, something you're doing to kind of keep ahead of the curve, something with communication or...
God, it's so hard to answer that question. It's so fast, rapid, things are changing. Social media, you often think, how can it get any better? Or what could Instagram do? Or what could Facebook do? And then they come out with something else that's just genius and incredible. But it's all going to be digital. Everything, you know, we're moving away from the print world and moving more into the digital world and the world of reaching people through the internet. But I mean, God, what if I knew that, I'd be worth several billion now. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
We gonna do any questions, team? Thank you.
I can't wait to see these.
So you mentioned door knocking several times, James.
Yes.
Do you literally mean knocking on doors, or are there other approaches you are referring to? That is sent in from Jeff in Chicago.
I mean, you can ring doorbells too, Jeff in Chicago. No, for us, this is what we did. It was great. David and I would phone our title rep. We would pick a certain area that we wanted to door knock. We would actually pick certain streets. We'd have the title company send us a spreadsheet of the addresses. And David and I would play rock, paper, scissors of who would get out and knock on the doors and who would sit in the car and laugh. And, you know, David would be in his car at the top of the road and I would go and...
Suits and ties?
Suits and ties, the whole 9 yards. We'd go out in the pouring down rain as well. And we'd literally knock on people's doors. And you know something? You got to have thick skin. You got to be prepared to receive rejection. But guess what? If you knock on 10 doors and get one maybe, that could be $100,000. It could be $500,000. Who knows and who cares? It's about a numbers game.
So how's the greeting when I open the door and there you are?
Hey, I'm James Harris. How are you? So I have a client that's very motivated to buy this property. They don't care about what it looks like inside, but they love the location. Could we set a time to come back and have a quick chat? No, get lost.
Everybody wants to know what their home is worth.
So you do that enough times and someone will say, well, that's funny because I was actually thinking about selling. But, you know, it's all about conversating. It's not necessarily, for me, I hate selling. I'm not the guy that's out at an event and here's my business card. For me, it's about conversating, getting to know you, just talking. You know, talking. Now, obviously, if you're knocking on someone's door, you're selling. Okay, but there's a way to do it without being that person. And I feel like you have to be natural and be yourself.
Here is Ron from Orange County. Are there shortcuts to providing value and information to your clients? What are the questions you get most often that you need to prep for when selling a property? Most common questions.
Shortcuts is, again, the information is there. You just have to go and grab it, I think, you know, in terms of understanding. You know, the comps are everything. I think that's such an amazing resource that's there. So it's not really a shortcut, but it's, you know, you can go and grab it if you can be bothered to, you know, get on your computer and
No
spend a bit of
such
time.
thing as shortcuts in this industry, right? This is all about working smart.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. You guys are clearly very charismatic in addition to being knowledgeable,
Oh, thank you, whoever this is from.
and your accents are great. Do you think this has helped you to be successful? From Natalie in Ann Arbor.
I'm really from Tennessee. No. No, I don't think it's helped. You know, you never know.
I get asked that a lot, and I don't think it does. I think when someone's wanting to spend many millions
memorable.
of dollars, well, maybe, but I don't think they really care about your accent when, you know, you've got a $20 million property at stake. I think they want to know that you know what you're talking about more than anything else. So, as much as I'd like to say yes, I might help me with my wife, but I mean, no.
Okay, great. Closing words of wisdom? Anything? Any words of advice?
Work hard, think outside the box, and work harder than all of your competition. And please God, you'll be successful.
Copy that. You know, be true to yourself, be true to your word, and hustle your bollocks off, and you'll win. There you go.
Great. Appreciate your time. Thrilled you had
Thank you
took the
so
time out
much.
to join
That was
us.
great.
Pleasure. Very nice.
Thank you again for watching.